Good evening, guys. I hope you're all well. Just wanted to pop on and say a few things. First of all, about these silly masks that everybody's going to have to start wearing, which are going to be mandatory. Should never be mandatory. We have freedom of choice. Should have. Part of your inalienable rights, ladies and gentlemen, and you should stick up for them. First of all, I'm going to play this little bit of a clip when Boris was talking to somebody to do with the health over here, his advisors, and this is what she told him. Listen to this.
Tell us about the value of wearing face masks. You see face masks around the place. Is there any point to that?
If a healthcare professional hasn't advised you to wear a face mask, it's usually quite a bad idea. People tend to leave them on. They contaminate the face mask and then wipe it over something. So it's really not a good idea and doesn't.
Right, now you all see what that woman told Boris, that it wasn't, no effect, they don't help in the slightest. In fact, can be damaging to your health, and that is exactly right. And another clip here I want you to watch from this guy, very good information. Listen to this, and this should explain a lot more about the dangers of wearing a mask.
Studies that looked at N95 respirator masks. That's not the same thing as just hanging a piece of cloth over your face or creating your own mask at home. We'll get to that in a minute. But let's start with the most scientific and medically advanced mask, the N95 respirator mask. These studies, controlled studies, took a look at those N95 respirator masks and whether or not they prevent the spread of virus. Here's what they found. For the study in 2019, among 2,862 randomized participants, 2,371 completed the study and accounted for 5,180 HCW healthcare workers' seasons. Among outpatient healthcare personnel, N95 respirators versus medical masks, as worn by participants in this trial, resulted, get this, in no significant difference in the incidence of laboratory-confirmed influenza. Did you get that? In the 2019 study, there was no significant difference by wearing an N95 respirator mask. It happened again in 2020. Look at this one. A total of 6 RCTs involving 9,171 participants were included. There were no statistically significant differences in preventing laboratory-confirmed influenza, laboratory-confirmed respiratory viral infections, laboratory-confirmed respiratory infection, and influenza-like illness using N95 respirators and surgical masks. By the way, just to be clear, in the 2009, 2010, 2012, 2016, and 2017 studies, they all found the very same thing as the 2019 and 2020 studies. Again, all of these are RTCs, randomized controlled tests, that are essentially set up to determine whether or not these N95 respirator masks help to prevent the spread of viruses in this setting. And all of these studies found that they do not. Statistically, they do not. Now, there's another study that was also done in 2020. It was done by a group of researchers in Hong Kong. The study was conducted just before COVID-19 hysteria took over, and the results of it were released just a few weeks ago. And once again, those researchers found the very same thing, that there was, in fact, no statistical reason to believe that face masks will protect you, but improper use of a face mask actually puts you at greater risk of contamination. Look at this. In pooled analysis, we found no significant reduction in influenza transmission with the use of face masks. Our systematic review found no significant effect of face masks on transmission of laboratory-confirmed influenza. Proper use of face masks is essential because improper use might increase the risk for transmission. And there is more here, because remember, over and over we've been told something else that's pretty significant. We have been told that you must wear a face mask when you go out, and these N95 respirator masks are obviously the very best thing to wear, right? Which, as we're seeing, is not true, because those N95 respirator masks don't really protect you from transmitting and catching a virus. However, we're also being told that if you don't have an N95 respirator mask, which, by the way, the vast majority of people walking around in face masks do not have. In 2015, there was actually a study done taking a look at medical masks versus just a cloth mask and whether or not wearing a cloth mask would protect against the spread of a virus. And what that study found in 2015 should alarm you. Not only does wearing a cloth mask not prevent the spread of a virus, it actually can put you at greater risk for catching the virus. Look at this. According to researchers, this study is the first RCT of cloth masks, and the results caution against the use of cloth masks. This is an important finding to inform occupational health and safety. Moisture retention, reuse of cloth masks, and poor filtration may result in increased risk of infection. Further research is needed to inform the widespread use of cloth masks globally. However, as a precautionary measure, cloth masks should not be recommended for HCWs, that's healthcare workers, particularly in high-risk situations, and guidelines need to be updated. But wearing a face mask on a regular basis is unhealthy for you, and there are multiple studies that show that. The N95 mask, which filters out 95% of particles because it impairs respiratory exchange or breathing to a greater degree than a soft mask, and is more often associated with headaches. In one such study, researchers surveyed 212 healthcare workers, 47 males and 165 females, asking about presence of headaches with N95 mask use, duration of the headaches, type of headaches, and if the person had pre-existing headaches. They found that about a third of the workers developed headaches with the use of the mask. Most had pre-existing headaches that were worsened by mask wearing, and 60% required pain medications for relief. As to the cause of the headaches, while straps and pressure from the mask could be causative, the bulk of the evidence points towards hypoxia and or hypercapnia as the cause. That is, a reduction in blood oxygenation or an elevation in blood CO2. It is known that the N95 mask, if worn for hours, can reduce blood oxygenation as much as 20%, which can lead to a loss of consciousness.
Hi guys, right now you've listened to that guy. I just want to show you the Metro and Belarus, what the Metro is like. They don't wear masks over here. Very, very rarely do they wear the mask. A few people here and there do, but on the whole they don't. You'll see from the clip I'm going to show you now. I did do like 15-20 minutes of recording, but it's too long to watch, it gets boring, so I've just put a little clip on just to show you what it's like, life is like in Belarus. No lockdown, no masks unless you want to, and only less than 400 or just over 400 deaths now since the beginning of this pandemic back in January. So take a look at this. So guys, as you can see there, it's everybody's going about the business normally. Nobody looks stressed because they haven't shut the economy down over here. Everybody is still working. So, you know, you've got nobody depressed and stressed because they've got any money worries. And at the moment over here, I don't understand why, but they're trying to get Lukashenko out because they said he didn't abide by the rules with all this COVID bullshit. But I think he did a good job because, as you can see, everybody seems happy. It's the younger ones mainly who have been brainwashed because they watched Sky on internet and BBC, etc. and they watch the hit pieces they do on him. And basically, that's what's causing all the problems over here. But if you look at what he's actually done, if he hadn't have done what he did, and he'd have closed it down like everywhere else, Belarus would have actually been finished now. there'd be no Belarus. There'd be no Belarus economy. So all these people who are whinging and moaning over here, they need to give their heads a wobble, because he did the right thing for you people, really. Just have a look, because they've all been given this dream world of the Europe, that you can have freedom of speech and you can do what you want, and etc, etc, and this is classed as a dictatorship. Well, let me tell you, over at the moment, you've got more freedom here than you have back home, because like I said, don't have to wear a mask here. You go in any shop you want here. There's not barriers up everywhere and perspex between you and the people who are serving you, etc. It's nothing. It's just like it was before the pandemic. So that's Belarus for you. And what I want to show you now is very disturbing, ladies and gentlemen. These adverts. These adverts was done originally 5 years ago by MTV. They started playing them again this year. I think it was March, or maybe January or March this year anyway. They started to show them on MTV again. Not on our mainstream yet, but they're trying to adjust you ready with the programming to what's going to happen if we don't wake up. And we need to wake up, guys. So please just watch these videos and take heed and think about the consequences for yourselves and your families if you don't start standing up to this tyrannical, psychopathic regime. Take a look at this, guys. Well, as you can see there, guys, that's not me. That's MTV that did them adverts and put them adverts out. Very scary when you look at it like that. But it could happen. They don't do these things for nothing. They don't allow these things to be aired for nothing. It's part of the psychological program of fear. But the more you fall into the fear, the more likely that is to happen. So just take heed of what them adverts do. And please wake up for your children, because we are in the last chance saloon at the moment here. And I want to leave you with this. It's Tucker Carlson, just to show you that even the mainstream media channels that stick up for the patriots and the presenters who present those programs, they get attacked and picked on and pointed out to the left and Antifa every bit as much as the normal everyday patriots like ourselves. So we need to be aware of this. This isn't going to go away. So please, from everything you've seen on this video, hope it sinks in, and I hope for all our sakes that we can all wake up, unite and do something about this, because it's getting out of hand now. It really is, guys. But anyway, I'll leave it there. Stay safe. Love every single one of you. And just do the right thing. And I'll leave you with Tucker Carlson. I'll speak to you all soon, guys. Bye.
About where my family and I live. As a matter of journalism, there is no conceivable justification for a story like that. The paper is not alleging we've done anything wrong, and we haven't. We pay our taxes, we like our neighbors, we've never had a dispute with anyone. So why is the New York Times doing a story on the location of my family's house? Well, you know why. To hurt us. To injure my wife and kids so that I will shut up and stop disagreeing with them. They believe in force. We've learned that. 2 years ago, a left-wing journalist publicized our home address in Washington. A group of screaming Antifa lunatics showed up while I was at work. They vandalized our home. They threatened my wife. She called 911 while hiding in a closet. A few weeks later, they showed up again at our house. For the next year, they sent letters to our home threatening to kill us. We tried to ignore it. It felt cowardly to sell our home and leave. We'd raised our kids there in the neighborhood, and we loved it. But in the end, that's what we did. We have 4 children. It just wasn't worth it. But the New York Times followed us. The paper has assigned a political activist called Murray Carpenter to write a story about where we are now. They've hired a photographer called Tristan Spinsky to take pictures. Their story about where we live is slated to run in the paper this week. Editors there know exactly what will happen to my family when it does run. I called them today and I told them, but they didn't care. They hate my politics. They want this show off the air. If one of my children gets hurt because of a story they wrote, they won't consider it collateral damage. They know it's the whole point of the exercise, to inflict pain on our family, to terrorize us, to control what we say. That's the kind of people they are. They'll deny this, of course. They'll claim it's just journalism, just the facts. Really? So how would Murray Carpenter and his photographer Tristan Spinsky feel if we told you where they live, if we put pictures of their homes on the air? What if we publicized the home address of every one of the soulless robot editors at the New York Times who assigned and managed this incitement to violence against my family? What about the media editor, Jim Windolf? We could do that. We know who they are. Would that qualify as journalism? We doubt they'd consider it journalism. They'd call it criminal behavior if we did it.